Are you aware, we learned this last night from Mike Del Tufo. I don't know if you were there for this sort of crazy. Can you say you can re-gold?
You can get the Emmy reconditioned.
Are you aware of that? That if your Emmy's
old,
if it's beginning to fray a little bit?
Tarnish?
Yeah, if you
tarnish.
Oh, no, I don't want it. I want it to look like it's been used. Like it's, it's got some wear and tear on it.
Did you do it? Did you treat yours like the Stanley Cup? Like you took it around? Did it tour? Did it tour Connecticut?
No, the first Emmy I got, and,
the first Emmy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I
like that, Dan. Yeah. I can relate.
You
guys got that? I can relate.
My bad. Like after the fifth or sixth, then you lose track. But, she has wings, and so my son thought it would be funny if we used it and put hot dogs on the point of her wings and then grilled with it, like just as a photo op, like not have the grill on, but that it would be funny. And I'm glad I didn't, because the Sports Emmy people don't, they don't like that. They don't think that's funny. And so I'm glad that I didn't do it. But I did think about that. And then I ran it by somebody with the Sports Emmys, and they said, that's not a good idea. And then I thought maybe it would prevent me from winning other Sports Emmys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That you'd be on some sort of list?
But I also got, Darius Rucker gave me his Grammy when Hootie and the Blowfish won in 1994, 1995. And I said, look, you got Grammys. Like, just give me one. So he gave me his Grammy, and I put it on my desk. And I had it on my desk for months. Next thing I know, I get this panicked phone call from Darius Rucker. You got to send me that Grammy back. What? And I said, come and get it. and he goes, no, I'm serious. I got to have the Grammy back. The Grammy is, they're really upset that I loaned that out to you.
Yeah.
So I had to overnight it, pack it up, the whole thing, and send it down to him, because he was dead serious that he thought the Grammys were going to hold it against him, that he didn't value the Grammy, that he would give it to some lowlife like me and put it on my desk for a sports show.
Was there any part of you, Dan Patrick, that thought of crafting a letter, a Stern letter, not a David Stern letter, but a Stern letter, and send it to an authority in charge of the Grammys and say, do you know who I am? At any point, like, you're not just somebody, Dan.
No, but I have such appreciation for music and Darius and what he's done, and I would never want to have that prevent him from winning other Grammys.
So you sent it back to him?
I did.
Did he pay for the pack?
He did not. There was no COD. There was none of that stuff. No. But, he's been such a great friend, and I met him in 1994. I was at the Masters in Augusta. So the band is there. Nobody knows who they are. They just started. They just launched.
From South Carolina.
Yeah,
right?
I only, hold my hand.
Yeah.
They see me, but they don't come up to me because they don't think that I know who they are. So I never knew they were there. And they said, we met, a couple of years ago. And I go, where? And they said, at the Masters. I go, So they walked by me, and I didn't know that they were walking by me. And that's the first time that we met. I've been to Darius's wedding. Like, I've been involved with them for almost 25. They're coming up on their 25th anniversary there.
I remember when you were on the ESPN radio network, and there was a roast on your behalf in Chicago, Illinois.
And you hosted.
And I was the roast master, and I worked very, very blue that night on behalf of the roast. They played. Were they not the musical?
Yeah. And I'll never forget Rick Riley. Now, what happens in a roast is you don't necessarily roast the person who's supposed to be roasted.
Right.
You start roasting everybody on the dais.
Yeah, right.
So Rick Riley, the great sports writer, gets up and he said, hey, I want to thank Darius Rucker for being here. I've got your album, Hootie's Greatest Hit. And you can just see Darius look like, wait, what did I do? So Riley was making fun that they only had one song, Hold My Hand.
Right.
Meanwhile, they sold 17 million of that album. And I just remember going, I don't like roasts because it felt like everybody was getting shot up there.
Well, but that was my job, was to be.
You started out with a joke,
and
I had to make sure that all the tapes were destroyed.
Is there still a tape of it?
I don't know, but I was in a panic. So we do this roast, and Rich starts out with a line that I went, there's careers in jeopardy here. Like
I only know one speed when it comes to roasting. I mean, like that's what
floored me with the first line. It had to do with Brent Musburger. Oh, and it had to do with
anatomy.
And I would say draw your own conclusions, but you can't even get to where Rich got with that conclusion. And I'm going, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And so the whole night with this roast, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to have a job when I get home.
It was bad.
And I immediately, Paulie, my producer, I said, Paulie, make sure there's no tape. Make sure there's no tape.
And it's not somewhere like
it
not
never
even in the dustbin somewhere in your attic?
Never surfaced.
Also, you're not answering so the tape exists then is what
it might.
Saying.
But Rob Dibble was my co-host, the former baseball pitcher, nasty boy. So he's getting upset with people who are roasting me. He wants to fight them. So he's with me on the dais. And he doesn't understand this. That I said it's okay. Yeah. And he is MFing people. He's like who wants to fight him. I go, no, it's called a roast.
Yeah, dibs.
Like they're supposed to say mean things about you.
Right, that's the idea.
Yeah. And I said, even if they're not true, they say mean things about you.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.